Good morning and half a day. The Committee on General Government Operation, Appropriation, and Housing is now called to order. For the record, today is Tuesday, July 26, 2022, and the time now is 9:28. Apologize for our delay. Notice for this budget hearing were disseminated via email to all senators and all main media broadcasting outlets. First public notice was issued on Monday, July 18, followed by Wednesday, June 20th, 2022. Committee will now hear Bill 276-36 COR as introduced by the Committee on Rules by the request of the I Maga'hågan Guåhan, the Governor of Guam, in accordance with the Organic Act of Guam. An act making appropriation for the operation of the executive branch of the Government of Guam for fiscal year ending September 30, 2023, making other appropriations, establishing miscellaneous and administrative provisions relative to CHamoru Land Trust Commission. I'd like to acknowledge my colleagues that are here this morning, and we have the Speaker, the Oversight Chair of CHamoru Land Trust, Speaker Therese Terlai, and Senator Tello Tadiga, and Senator Joanne Brown. Those testifying on Bill 276-36 COR relative to the CHamoru Land Trust Commission have been invited, and then we do have the presence of the Director, Angela Camacho, and her staff, Joey Cruz. General rules for the public hearing. Written testimony shall be submitted to the committee. Please provide my legislative staff with your written testimony for photocopying. Testimony may be read, and lengthy testimony should be summarized to about 5 minutes, but we'll allow you additional time as needed. Those testifying will be allowed to present oral testimony. Once you're done, please remain in the room for questions or for additional testimony as may be desired by the members of the committee. Questions and testimony shall be confined to the substance or nature of the agenda, which is the CHamoru Land Trust Commission's budget. Personal inference as to the character or the motive of any senator or any individuals testifying is not permitted. Any violation of this general rule of conduct will result in removal from the budget hearing. Proper form and decorum shall be practiced by all present in the public hearing room for these proceedings. Individuals who fail to maintain proper form and decorum will be restricted from providing additional testimony and will be removed from the room. When you speak, please make sure that the microphone is on and that you speak into the microphone. Other questions may be submitted to the committee for submission to the agency or department for response. Please state your name, your title for the record. I now ask the panel to please rise as the Sergeant at Arms will now swear you in for your testimony.
Please raise your right hand. Under penalty of perjury, do you all affirm that any and all information you provide today, whether it be verbally, electronically, and in writing, be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Okay, Mr. Chair, you may proceed. You're under oath.
Thank you, Sergeant at Arms. We'll now begin to discuss Bill 276-36 CR relative to CHamoru Land Trust Commission's budget. Ms. Camacho, please.
For the record, my name is Angela Camacho. I'm the Acting Administrative Director for the CHamoru Land Trust Commission. Buenos and half a day, Chairman on Appropriations, Senator San Agustin, Speaker Terlahi, Senator Brown, and Senator Tadiga. The CHamoru Land Trust Commission would like to thank the 36th Guam Legislature for this opportunity to present our FY23 budget request. Initially, CLTC submitted a budget request of $2,024,076. Recently, CLTC requested a budget adjustment that comprises of 4 requests. Copies of all the affected budgetary forms have been provided to the Office of Finance and Budget. The first budget adjustment is to decrease CLTC's Survey and Infrastructure Fund initial budget request of $237,500 to $59,604. The decrease is to coincide with the Executive's Branch Special Fund revenue projects. Next, CLTC requested an adjustment to decrease our General Fund initial budget request from $827,354 to $647,354. This decrease is due to transferring office space rental expense to the CLTC Operations Fund. The third adjustment request was to increase CLTC's Operations Fund initial budget request of $959,222 to $1,139,222. The increase is due to the transfer of office space rental expense from the general fund. The last adjustment is to decrease CLTC's operation fund benefits line item from $290,848 to $245,628. CLTC has identified an error related to an employee's insurance expense. The insurance expense should have read $5,024 instead of $50,244. After considering all the adjustments, CLTC's adjusted FY 2023 budget request is $1,800,960. The funding source breakdown of CLTC's FY 2023 budget request would be $1,139,222 from CLTC's Operations Fund, $59,604 from CLTC's Survey and Infrastructure Fund, and $647,354 from the General Fund. The increase in funding from CLTC's Operations Fund is primarily due to the increase in salaries and benefits, contractual office space rental, and telephone services. The increase in funding from the General Fund is primarily due to the increase in contractual expenses. CLTC is actively working with RCAC to apply for federal funding to be used for the installation of infrastructure within CLTC property. What we have learned through the process is a preliminary engineering report, and an environmental report is a requirement when an application is submitted. The increase in funding will be used to procure the reports. There are grants that are available to pay for such costs, although we must pay up front and then get reimbursed. CLTC's FY 2023 budget request does not contain any prior year outstanding personnel service obligations. The necessary supplies and equipments needed have been procured during FY 2022. At this time, CLTC does not have any capital outlay projects. No federal assistance has yet to be obtained by CLTC. CLTC's FY 2023 budget request is sufficient to meet the needs of the department's day-to-day operations. Although in terms of progress related to our land leasing programs, it is not. What I mean by that is the installation of infrastructure is costly. CLTC, like I mentioned earlier, has reached out to the RCAC for assistance, and we anticipate submitting our USDA RD application before the fiscal year end. CLTC anticipates that all recruitments authorized in FY 2022 will be completed in the next 2 months. CLTC has received $695,262 from the Governor's American Rescue Plan. CLTC intends to use that money for the surveying of leased properties. Furthermore, CLTC is not under the allotment budgetary control of BBMR and is not subject to any appropriation reserves. In closing, if CLTC's FY 2023 adjusted budget request is granted, we project to complete the following: begin the issuing of leases, complete the design of 6 residential and 6 agricultural subdivisions, increase the number of compliance inspections, assist our applicants with the research to determine eligible beneficiary status, and continue the processing of applications. On June 2023, CLTC was awarded $239,693 grant from the U.S. Department of Interior, Office of Insular Affairs for CLTC's project titled Enhancing of the CHamoru Land Trust Commission's Information Technology Infrastructure to Improve its Process. The project entails the scanning and digitizing of all CLTC's current and future records. Moreover, the grant will pay for the development and creation of a database system and CLTC's website. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today regarding our fiscal year 2023 budget, and we will submit in writing to your office, Mr. Chairman, our written testimony by the end of the day.
Please do. We were trying to follow you, but we were, wait for your testimony, because we want to be able to see all the numbers. And then we'll make sure, please provide your oversight chair, Speaker Tulai, a direct copy and CC me, the committee.
We'll
And then
do that.
I will make sure that everybody, to include my two colleagues at the end, Senator Tello and Senator Brown, gets a copy as soon as possible. I'd ask the oversight chair if she has any questions for the panel.
Good morning. Ms. Camacho, you're still in an acting capacity at the CHamoru Land Trust?
That's correct.
All right. Are the board members aware of the budget? Have they
We
taken
have-
any review of it or action on it?
We presented our budget to the board in our last budget board meeting in May.
All right. And so, all right, well, I have several questions. I'll start with those. But on the ARP funding, you say you're going to use it for surveying of the property. Which property? Is this for the 6 residential and 6 agriculture subdivisions? So did board decide it? Is that what that surveying is going to be for?
I'll let Mr. Cruz
Oh, sure.
speak
Good
on
morning,
that.
Joey. Mr. Cruz?
Morning, Speaker. The board hasn't decided which parcels or properties the ARP money will be used for surveying. Although we've put together a proposal, it will be presented to the board for their approval for expenditure.
And can you give me a breakdown, like how much property can you survey with $695,000? It seems like a lot, so.
Recently, we went out and we requested for a quote from 2 different companies. One came back at $8,000, and I believe the other one at $4,400
For what?
for the surveying of one piece of property. What we've encountered is that as we try to parcel out a tract of property, we become a developer. So what happens is that we have to follow the subdivision laws, which require, depending if it's a residential subdivision that we're creating, sidewalks, the installation of wastewater, power, roads. And then if it's an agriculture subdivision, the requirements are a little bit less, which don't require paved roads. But the board has not decided what tracts of property would be surveyed yet. We haven't presented our proposal to them, but we will.
I just want to get a clear understanding whether the commission is prioritizing agricultural subdivisions as equal to residential subdivisions. I know the law does that, but it says the commission has that, authority to decide, but I still know that there are thousands of applicants for residential, and I feel I would like to see that prioritized. So on the surveying, is this for the properties that you intend to apply for the RCRA?
The RCAC?
RCAC, sorry, yeah.
There's a possibility. In response to your...
Are these different, or these are the same?
Which
I mean,
one?
I'm trying to see if we're trying to move ahead with the same, get funding from RCAC to do what?
Currently, we're working with RCAC to assist us with applying for USDA RD loan or grants. The pilot project the property that was chosen is tract 1022. The reason for that is because initially 1022 was surveyed for a land for the landless subdivision. Each lot was surveyed at, I believe, 467 or 470 square meters. Today, those lots are unusable. because of the lot size. So in order for us to get them usable, we have to install wastewater. So the RCAC currently is assisting us with applying for a loan or grant through USDA for the Track 1022. The money, the ARP money,
Wait, how much does it cost to install sewer into the 1022?
and water, we got a quotation from GWA. It's going to cost roughly about $50 million for 403 lots.
And is this included in GWA's plans at all?
We are unsure of that, but we were able to get a quotation from, or
All right, but they're aware that, because they also got money under ARP and under infrastructure, we expect them to be receiving infrastructure money. And I just want to know if this is part of the lots that they intend to improve with those monies.
So my understanding is that the funds that were, that GWA will assist us with is in Atacao. And that's about 12 to 14 million.
All right. And so the 6 residential and 6 agriculture subdivisions that you intend, that's what you intend to use the surveying ARP money for?
that is part of our proposal, but we're also considering all the lessees, our current lessees, who have not surveyed or was not issued a property with survey.
So that there's no discount for a bulk surveying contract?
We are still requesting for quotations. At this time, we don't have that number, or we're unaware of any.
All right. And then, so the 424 appropriated in FY22, can you just tell the status of the hiring that was supposed to accomplish?
At this time, we've announced all the positions. There are some selections that have been done, but not has not been finalized yet, meaning there's no personal action yet. We are still conducting or ongoing with our recruitment.
That's a year. So can you just explain? Is this urgent or not?
It is urgent. The delay was because of the delivery of our computers. We just received the computers, I believe, the latter part of January or February this year. So we didn't commence the recruitment process until we had the computers.
Right. Still 6 months. It's still been 6 months. I don't understand. Because there's still several positions that are vacant, and that's what I wanted to ask you. So some of them you discussed, but some of them you didn't. Are you still intending well, have you brought on any new staff during the year?
Not yet.
Okay, you're requesting a little bit more this year from the general fund. This is, my understanding is well, are you hiring in addition to those
No, ma'am.
employees that are slated for the 424? You're not intending to fill any of the other positions then?
At this time, no. The increase was due to the requirements of the federal applications, which require a preliminary engineering report and an environmental report.
Oh, that's what I was going to ask next. So you're still going forward with these things, and this is, says, $200,000 for preliminary engineering reports and $100,000 for 2 each. That's for 2, so, and $100,000 for 2 environmental reports. What is this for?
For our federal application for grants or loans with USDA, it's a requirement.
Is that for the same thing that we talked about earlier? Lot 1022?
That,
So
that's
to
one
get
of
the
them.
USDA funding, you have to pay 400, is it 300,000 or 600,000 for these
300.
reports?
300, I believe.
300,000? 200 plus the $100,000 environmental report for lot 1022?
It's not the, it's for two different reports.
2 different environmental reports?
Yes, ma'am. And two
And
different.
2 different engineering reports?
Yes, ma'am.
But the same lot?
No, ma'am. For
That's what-
different lots.
Which lots?
So there's one for track 1022, and then there's another lot. I believe it's 10090, which is right across the. What's that called? Right across Ironwood and Derrito. That we in
1090?
10090.
0090. And this is, again, to get a loan from USDA to bring in water and wastewater?
It's for the reports that are required with our application.
No, you want funding to pay for, general fund funding to pay for those engineering and environmental reports, but you're, to apply to the USDA?
Yes,
Or-
ma'am.
Yeah, for loans. And you said for lot 2022, they're going to bring, you want the loan to 50 million to bring in sewer and water. What about for lot 10090? Are you also applying for the same thing, sewer and water?
We will pursue that after the track 1022 is completed.
When? This year or in the future?
We hope to complete the application by the beginning of FY 2023, if it's possible. What happened was that when the name CHamoru or the word CHamoru was
Change.
changed, we had to go back in and update our DUNS information, and then after that, the SAMS information will update. So we had a kind of a hiccup with the process of the application.
What? You had to update your application to USDA?
We had to update our information in the SAMS and the DUNS, our entity that's registered with SAMS. So that took a while for us to update the information.
A year?
It was difficult. We weren't getting responses from regarding the SAMs and DUNS.
Okay. And this is because this is our biggest hope to bring in some new leases. Is this correct? Right? For residential leases? I hope these are all the USDA applications are for residential leases.
To bring in new leases, but also to bring water to existing leases.
So you're also applying for other properties?
There are currently at 1022, we have a few lessees. And to make it compliant, right?
Of course,
because it's over the
403
aquifer.
lots, you said, for 1022. So how many of those are already existing?
I want to say we've issued 403 leases for that area.
You've already issued, oh,
Yes, but the problem is that they're unusable.
okay. So I'm just trying to confirm that this money that we're going to spend on these engineering and environmental reports are to get us a loan from USDA in order to bring in sewer and water to these other 2 lots, right? And that this is going to happen in the next fiscal year, hopefully? You're going to submit your application in the beginning of FY23, meaning in 2 months from now,
We
Right?
we anticipate that.
all right? And that it's going to include an application for 1022, 10090. Are there other lots?
We've identified some other lots, but we're also thinking about the cost. So 10090, the cost should be much less because it's adjacent to Ironwood Estates. So
I'm assuming you have quotes for all of these, how much to bring in the sewer, how much to bring in the water to each of these big tracts that you're trying to
We're really
promote?
trying to be focused in our strategy so that so our priority today we feel is 1022. So we've been working with RCAC for most of the year to assist us in applying for this USDA RD grant and loan.
All right. No, I understand that, and I
Yeah.
appreciate that work. I'm just concerned that that's not giving us then any new leases. We're not taking care of us, even one more person on that 1995 list, because these are already 400 leases existing, right? That's what you're saying. So what about the 695,000 of ARP for surveying? Is that going to give us any new leases?
It will. What, to
Which
address
lots?
the concern of new leases, Speaker, if I may, in the coming week, well, we have a board meeting this week, Thursday. What we're going to do is we're working on the next 30 constituents next in line.
But where are you sending them? To places with no water and no sewer?
No, we also have lots from the land for the landless
Yes,
subdivisions.
those have been for 2 years now, or 3 years.
And in addition, we're pursuing our affordable housing as well. So we're hoping that would avail some of our lessees with hardened homes.
With what?
With our affordable housing project that we've been pursuing. So we did the RFI, now we're working on the RFP. So we're hoping that project will allow us to assist more of our lessees.
What is that going to do? That's to build a housing unit on CHamoru Land Trust property?
That's correct.
And that's already out for RFP?
We're drafting the RFP currently with DPW.
So you're the developer?
We're going to outsource, right? We're going to, we've done the RFI, so we're now crafting the RFP with DPW.
Yeah, I'd like to see what that entails. So you're no longer leasing residential and agricultural leases, you're leasing to a developer or something?
We're looking into the possibility of building homes on some of our, on that track in Jigo.
But you say you're sending out an RFP next week. That's not a possibility anymore. That's already a lot of work invested, it sounds like. So what are the,
Well,
I just want to know the legal parameters of that. So what is your obligation? How does that get paid?
So the lessee will have to qualify, right, to purchase the home. And we're still, like I said, working on the RFP with DPW. So, of course, financing and things like that is something that we're working out with DPW.
DPW?
Yes, they're the contract. They do the RFP for construction.
All right. I know my colleagues also have questions, so let me try to be quick with the rest that I have. Just have you made any new, well, there are, existing commercial properties used for antenna sites and those telecom infrastructure. I'm not talking about the submerged cable ones now, we're just talking about the antenna sites pretty much. And so these are expiring, they're up for renewal. They need, they want long-term leases. They also want to keep, where they are instead of having to rebid out the entire property, that property again, right? Since they've got their infrastructure on it. I think the issue that I last looked at was just the valuation of these properties, right? And to ensure that we get, good value for the CLTC on those. Has there been any work done on the valuation of those properties that you are aware of?
Not that I'm aware of.
Did you mean, did the companies obtain appraisal reports or the government doing the valuation?
Well, yeah, what are you expecting?
Normally, the process would be that the companies would procure 2 appraisal reports. And what we'll do is take the average of both appraisals and figure out the monthly or annual rate.
Yeah.
So
Are you satisfied? I thought the commission was looking at other ways to value this because we came up with, like, for example, on the submerged leases, very much undervalued leases. And we don't want to do that again. So I thought that that's where we were trying to, come up with additional ways.
our commercial rules and regs requires or allows the board to assess the fair market value no less than 10%. So it can vary based on industry.
All right. It doesn't sound like there's any changes then on the valuation.
At this time, we have not executed a new commercial lease, so there's nothing.
All right. This is how we ended up with the $5,000 per year for an unlimited number of cables lease. It's like I just think we need to look harder at those. But so the budget that you're requesting is going to cover your current operations, no new employees, but it's going to also cover this new engineering and environmental reports in order to get USDA loans. That's $300,000. And you're going to use ARP funds to survey lots, but you haven't listed those lots. I keep asking you, what are the 6 subdivisions at residential that those are going towards? And you're saying, and those will be, I'm sorry, can you just confirm, those will be new leases? Or those will not be new leases? Those are current, again, all leased out already?
No, those will be new leases.
Those will be new leases. How many? 6 subdivisions.
We don't have the exact number now, but we can provide it.
So
to
once
your
the
office.
subdivision is surveyed, are you going to be issuing leases, or are you going to wait for water and sewer to be? And are you planning for sewer in those areas? Are you going to survey them to sewer size or non-sewer size?
Our understanding is that the law requires us to provide the infrastructure. Once we do the survey of any tract of land, I believe it's more than 5 lots, we are required within, I believe, a year.
So you are?
At this time, it would depend on the availability or the approval of our USDA applications. If we're not able to install sewer, then the lots will measure at ½ acre for each lot.
Okay, but you said the USDA application was for 1022 and 10090, and that these new 6 residential and 6 agricultural subdivisions are different than those. Are we talking about the same properties?
10090 is part of the 6. We stand corrected.
Okay. Your lease went up $60,000?
No, but our lease expires June 2023. The increase was due to, because of the recruitment of additional staff, we need additional office space, and we anticipate that there may be an increase in the per square foot rate.
All right. So the audit is, there was an audit done on your commercial leases, right? And made recommendations for your commercial leases. What is the status of your pending receivables from commercial leases? I know you submit reports to us, but yeah, what is the status of pending? Are you having any issues collecting from your tenants, or are you pretty much on track?
We have some accounts with high receivables. For instance, the Guam International Country Club. I believe in the May or June meeting, the board had approved a payment plan We have transmitted that payment plan to Guam International Country Club, but we have not received a response yet. We anticipate to present a follow-up regarding the Guam International Country Club's receivables in August or September.
All right. That's the same lease that had huge issues years ago, before I was even a senator, so that's at least 5 years now. Maybe 10 years ago, huge problem. I remember the legislature having an all-out battle down there over this because, yeah, that lease they had gotten in arrears. Is that the only one in arrears?
No, ma'am. There are others, but off the top of my head, it's just Guam International Country Club pops in my head because that's the highest receivable.
All right. All right. The commission's taking a close look at it, though, and acting on it? Are they going to pursue?
So, if I may, the golf course requested for abatement. Our board denied that. They agreed to work out, to assist them in catching up with the overdue rent. Like Joey says, we are writing to them again because they haven't responded to what the board had agreed upon. The board also agreed that if they needed to request for an increase in their fees, the board would support that as well. But unfortunately, we haven't gotten a positive response from the golf course
All right.
yet.
And what about the other tenants, the collectible commercial receivables? Is the commission closely monitoring those and acting on those?
We will be presenting to the board a list of receivables from our tenants.
All right. All right. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you again for your work. I know you worked hard, and it's still just frustrating that, you know, we want to see these leases in a systematic manner being distributed as quickly as possible, and I think it's urgent that residential leases get out, even more urgent than agricultural leases at this point, just because of the state of affairs that we are in. And so your efforts to bring the water and the sewer in so that we can divide these lots up into smaller parcels is, I commend that. I'd like to see the details of your proposal to become the developer of properties as opposed to just the leaseor. I'd like to see that and legal's review of that. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Yeah, I was gonna ask a follow-up question on that one, that if you don't get the loan, then you end up shifting the size of the property to be half acre to be in compliance with the law, correct? That's basically what you said. If you get the loan, then you can stay with the quarter-acre lot.
That's correct, but that will then also entail relocating many lessees. So we really have to work hard to accomplish this.
Okay, thank you. Senator Tello, you have any questions for the panel, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and good morning to Angie and Joey. Thank you so much for being here. I was hoping that we'd have some people from the board coming today, you know, to provide some testimony. Also, Angie, can we also get a copy of your testimony that you provided for us this morning? Appreciate it.
Sure, we'll do that.
Okay. I know you have a lot on your hands. You're like any woman, we multitask, and I know that you're still with the Guam Housing Corp as well as CHamoru Land Trust. So when are they anticipating to fill this position at CHamoru Land Trust?
I'm sorry?
When do they plan on filling the position of CHamoru Land Trust, the director? Are you going to stay in this position where you're at right now? Well, women can do that. You know, we're notorious for doing that.
I wish I could answer that. Unfortunately, this time I just continue to serve.
Okay. Thank you so much for that too, taking double duty, you know, no pay increase on that. But anyways, you've always been very helpful when I've called your office, you know, for any information, and appreciate you taking my calls when need be. But there is some concern I have with regards to the OPA's report that came out and for the FY fiscal highlights that was provided. I like to read these because it kind of tells me the heartbeat of what's happening. There are some issues. One of them was a concern that even though you received, did not identify any significant deficiencies. However, the report repeated some material weaknesses still and one of them is the CHamoru Land Trust recorded coral extraction royalties of $195,000 from the construction company of the mining activities of CHamoru Land Trust property. Can you give me a little bit more insight on how you're addressing the issue on the reporting of this? Or even any other information that can provide us that this discrepancy would be resolved?
So at this time, because of the issues that we have, we've ordered a cease and desist on any mineral extractions at this time. So currently, the raceway is not doing any of that activity.
Okay.
And we're really trying to work it out with them so that we can come up with a fair and reasonable agreement with them.
Okay. The question too is, have they already extracted material and haven't paid for it yet?
So maybe a couple of months ago, we received the TOPL that we've been waiting for from them for many years. It's with our survey division, and we're doing our evaluation of it.
Okay, it'd be good to have that information. It'd be good to have that information, regarding, yeah.
Yeah, we just
Because-
received it maybe a couple of months ago, so that was a very important component to understanding how much was extracted.
Yeah, okay. Well, I hope that you pursue this, whatever is owed to the CHamoru Land Trust and move forward with that expeditiously, because we know that the special fund revenue, well, we can't really see, I don't really see it in the CRER report to give us the information on how it's tracking. All I know is taken from information from OPA that's been extracted there, that it hasn't been performing as expected, and this is the CHamoru Land Trust Operation Funds as well as the CHamoru Land Trust Commission Survey and Infrastructure Fund. And so because of this, how are you addressing any shortfalls that's not been that you haven't expected to receive for your appropriation in the special funds? Or have you been constantly receiving it?
We've been projecting our revenue collections for the operations fund and the survey infrastructure fund. We projected about 45 years out. The operations fund is declining in revenue generating. That's due to all the commercial leases. All commercial leases executed prior to October 2015 is being deposited into the operations fund. But those leases are coming to an end. They're expiring. They reached their life. Any new leases executed after October 2015 will be deposited into our survey infrastructure fund. So for example, like the GTA submerged lease, that will be deposited into our survey infrastructure fund. But we have no new revenue source for our operations fund. We do monitor our receivables. So in the event, and we've been very frugal with our expenditures.
So what about, Joey, what about the shortfalls? Have you had any shortfalls yes,
based on our collections?
in 2021, let's go from the 2021, because you were given an appropriation and an anticipated amount coming from these two funds, right, special funds. Did you experience any shortfalls there, or is that where the ARP funds that are going to come in to address some of those shortfalls, and are you experiencing any shortfalls now that you anticipate for 22?
I think for the last 3-4 years we've been operating at a deficit. The shortfall or the supplemental will come from the money in the bank that we have. Although, like I mentioned, we've been very frugal. Even if we were appropriated $950,000, I believe, or $1 million last year, a little over $1 million, we didn't expend the whole appropriation.
So you have to adjust based on what, so you're adjusting based on that. So you're not taking an estimated amount and doing your operations based on that particular amount, you know, salaries, rental, et cetera. You're just playing it by ear, or I'm sure you have a...
No, we were given, or previously we were given budget ceilings. At the same time, we're also monitoring our revenue collection. So if we, like I mentioned, if we didn't need to expend the money, we don't.
Don't have, I know, yeah. Well, that's very good, but I think okay, so as long as you're not having any issues on any shortfalls in the special funds, because it is not tracking, based on some information I have, that's not tracking what was expected. So you would have to adjust to that, and that's what you're doing, you know, as best as you can. But sometimes we know that excess revenue is used to cover any shortfalls in the special fund, as been reiterated to us during in front of DOA when they came in front of us during the Committee on Rules. So make sure you get what is coming to you. Okay. The other one is in 2020, there was residential and agriculture applications of about 11,692 in 2020. That was an increase of about 22 from 2019. What is the standing right now as far as applications? Because my number comes from your citizen-centric report of 11,693. What is the updated amount now for applications, both on residential and agriculture?
We don't have that exact number, but we can provide it to your office.
It's probably about the same maybe, because if you're looking at only 22 every year, you know, additional, so we can figure, okay, thank you for that. A lot of my questions were asked by the speakers, so I appreciate all the hard work you're doing. And I know that you're looking for someone else on the board. Are you able to make quorum, though? Okay?
Yes.
Okay, that's good to hear. Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Tello. Senator Brown, do you have any questions for the panel?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Certainly good morning to you, Mrs. Camacho, for joining us, as well as Mr. Cruz. I just wanted to ask, yes, with regards that Senator Tello had brought up about your quorum, you have currently five commission positions. How many do you have for your Chamorro Land Trust Board?
Currently, there's 3, and we're hoping that Earl Garrido is confirmed soon by the legislature. That would make 4. We had a resignation recently. Commissioner Santos resigned from the board.
Okay.
Yeah.
So who are your current board members? How many board positions do you have? Is it 5 that you have available?
5 positions available, that's
okay,
correct.
And you have your chairman?
John Regis.
Okay, and your commission member, Arlene Berdelio, she's still serving?
She's still serving.
And then who's your third board member?
Commissioner Herrera, David Herrera.
Okay,
yeah.
okay. And so you currently at least have 3, and you're anticipating 2 more appointments for to fulfill your obligations of 5. With your position, Ms. Camacho, I mean, I appreciate the fact that you're serving, but it does kind of raise my eyebrow. It's been over a year since the departure of Mr. Hattick. What are the plans? It's very unusual to have an acting capacity in this position, and I think we all want to make sure the Chamorro Land Trust operations are prioritized.
Yeah.
So what is the plan? I mean, this is over, what, 14, going on 15 months?
That's correct, Senator.
Are you still currently, where is your main employment at? Is it Guam
Guam Housing Corporation, that's correct.
Okay, and
Yeah.
do you do any duties at Guam Housing, or is your time
Absolutely.
dedicated full-time to Land Trust right now?
Both. I do both.
And where's your salary paid out of?
Guam Housing Corporation.
And so how much time do you dedicate to the Chamorro Land Trust then, if you're still being paid out of Guam Housing and doing assignments at Guam Housing?
Yeah, I try to balance the both. So I really try to balance both.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense to me. I think we need to, and I think it's unfair to you as well, I think we need to have someone appointed full-time to the Chamorro Land Trust. I mean, There are other employees at Guam Housing as well, but it doesn't make sense to me for an extended period. Now this is a substantial period of time to not have a full-time director at the land trust. Certainly had my issues with your previous director, and I'm pleased that he is no longer serving in that capacity, but this has been too long. I think too long to ensure that the mission of the land trust is met, that it does need to have a full-time director. What is the issue as to why this has been continued like this for this long? Do you have any answer?
I can't answer
You've not
that,
asked
Senator.
that of the board?
I'm sorry?
You've not asked that of the board at this extended time that you've been serving this dual capacity? Because it's not possible to pay the amount of attention that's needed, you know, dividing yourself between two agencies. And I'm sure there are other people out there that the administration can encourage or the board can appoint. It's as if things are in limbo, and I don't think that's an acceptable position for anybody, right?
I don't believe that's the case, Senator. I believe that there will be somebody that will be appointed, I'm pretty sure.
Any estimated time frame? Because this is really unusual, this length of time for, I'm sorry, I just have to ask the obvious because it's just jumping out in my face. And knowing the extensive work and the fact that the land trust is behind on so many things that it's mandated to do, that's very difficult. And like I said, it puts you in a very difficult position of dividing your time and your duties and not being able to fully focus on one or the other. I mean, if they appointed you to land trust, that's fine with me as well. But I'd like to see your capacity 100% as I would anyone who'd be serving in this position. Temporary appointment, I can understand, you know, the transition, but we're long past that. So
I agree with you.
well, I want to note that for the record, and I think that's something, perhaps that question needs to be brought to the board and any future appointee to the board, because this is really, I don't know, I just don't think it's acceptable to have this drag on for this long. So I just want to note that, Mr. Chair, and hopefully I'll encourage the speaker. I know there are many issues that even she has brought up, that it would be good to have a status hearing, an oversight hearing, however you might want to call it, just to get into the details and status of where things are. I appreciate the efforts of the Land Trust Commission, but again, the workload in and of itself, just the history of all the things that need to be addressed are substantial. I know you're trying to chip away, but it would be good for our information, the general public also, just to give us an idea, as you know, the surveying. You know, out of all our properties, this is the percentage this fiscal year, this is how much money we have, you know, this is how much land area we're hoping to survey, anticipating, of course, you're going out and doing the bid to be able to get, you know, qualified surveyors to come on board to do that work. So definitely, you know, that's something I'm going to encourage, because I think we need to get a status update, and I think it will bring to light the issue that, you know, we just don't currently have a full-time director running the operations. And also the challenge of the employees there. I mean, you know, just having full-time attention and support, because you're already kind of understaffed from the mandate that you have before you. I don't have any detailed questions on your budget. I mean, it's not an overwhelming number and amount, but I do want to encourage, because this issue with the golf course has been a very long-standing one. When I was assisting with the Land Trust Commission, almost, gosh, now it's 12, 13, 14 years ago, that was also one of the outstanding tenants of the land trust that was not current in their paying. And I don't understand why the land trust is not moving to terminate these leases. I mean, it's one thing over a period of time, you give them the opportunity to come into compliance, but after a certain period of time, if they're not in compliance or they've not worked out a payment plan, the land trust should move towards termination, because simply the land trust needs the money. I mean, that's the bottom line. That's the reason these commercial leases were put in place, not for the benefit of the commercial lease primarily, but for the ability of the land trust to be able to generate revenue so that you can address the much needed long list of operations and obligations, and the need to get funding so you can put infrastructure and other things, survey money, all these other things in place for the land trust to operate. So I think we certainly are going to want to know who are those tenants that have not been properly paying their lease and are not up to date with regards to the monies that they owe to the land trust. And of course, the question to the board is, why hasn't action been taken to terminate those leases? Sometimes you just need to end a relationship and put it out for bid and get another company, hopefully, that will be a good tenant and that will pay the land trust the monies that's owed. So I just want to state that for the record, Mr. Chairman, because again, these have been long-standing issues and they just create this perennial list of, cycle of problems over and over year after year. And then we don't move forward with regards to the implementation and the objectives of why the land trust was created, to provide these properties for both the agricultural and residential leases for our community. So I do want to note that, and I will ask our speaker to schedule a time to have a status hearing with regards to where things are with the land trust. So with that, Mr. Chair, I don't have any further questions or comments with regards to our land trust budget this morning.
All right, thank you, Senator Brown. I just have a few small questions. After we passed the bill on GTA for the submerging, has anything happened with that? Anything going on? I mean, I was just curious because I know GTA was ready to roll, and I'm wondering if everything is working in the order it's supposed to work. At least say yes, it is, it's moving, and then we're good.
I believe GTA has been procuring the permits and stuff necessary.
Right.
Insofar as any payments made, not yet.
All right, yeah, because it was based on when they get all their permit and they're cleared. Okay, the other one I wanted to ask was how many folks are listed for CHamoru Land Trust? What's the total number today? You got a number, 10,000, 20,000? Do we have a good number?
We'll provide your office with the definite number along with Senator Telo Taidagui.
Okay, and then my only last question now is that, as you have commercial lease, are they subject to the leasee being able to sublease it? Because I'm trying to understand how, if you have a lease, you're supposed to do a business and they're supposed to give you the plan and get a commercial and get their permit, but how are they making money? Because I don't think CHamoru Land Trust is making money on top of that money that somebody else is making. And that's never the intent. It was to help people, but not make big money, and then you're still getting the basic amount that you started with. So I'm just curious, how does that work?
Previous leases, they're not able to sublease. With the new commercial rules and regs in place, any commercial lessee is allowed to sublease with the approval of the commission. But we have not awarded any new commercial lease based on our commercial rules and regs now. So all our existing, except for the GTA submerge license, it was existing. So they're not allowed to sublease.
So anybody before 10 years ago are not allowed to sublease, correct?
Leases executed prior to October 2015 are not allowed to sublease.
Okay, please then check on it. I know there are leases out there in commercial that are being subleased. And we just want to clear the record. We just want to make sure that everybody's on track, because everybody else in the commercial business that are qualified may want to walk up to your office and say, hey, we want to get a commercial lease because why? We can sublease to other businesses. And I'm just making sure that when you guys kick out a lease, you're going to get the biggest bang for your dollar. No different, the recycling and everything. I don't know what happened to that one. I'm not going to ask it. I'll worry about another hearing for that one. I'm very concerned because, as you identify, Nate, that if you don't get the loan, you end up with, instead of a quarter acre, you end up being half acre to be in compliance with the law. Then we need to focus on, and if you can, Nate, take a look at your lots and come up with a statement stating that if you don't get it, you can, or if you get the loan, you can get this many lots. If you don't get the loan, this is the number of lots. And based on the listing of people that are applicants, we know how far now you're going to go down this. I just need that general information because that's very good for the people of Guam to know. That if they signed up 95 or whatever day they signed up, they know how far down they're on the list. Because, I'm already, long time already since I signed up, so I'm not going to discuss that. But moving along, the committee will conclude this budget hearing, and the committee will continue to receive testimony. Please address your written testimony to the Committee on General Government Operations, Appropriation, and Housing, and submit it via email, Senator Joe S. @gmail.com, or to my office located at Rand Care Building, second floor, Suite 203, 761 Marine Corps Drive, Tamuning, Guam. Si Jesus Masi for your attendance and participation in today's hearing. And for those at home, thank you for watching. This budget hearing on Bill 276-36 CR relative to the Chamorro Land Trust Commission is duly heard and is now adjourned. It is 10:28. Please be safe. Take care. Thank you.